Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. Please enter the text, Andy, you can't go on like this. You haven't produced a book in 2 years, you still owe it to the publisher. Even if you can't write those shit, don't refuse the job I'm looking for you. 17 years old asked you to write a blog. They like your tone. This is your job. I'm your agent. I'm helping you. Andy. Smith watched the bald middle-aged man chatter all morning. His head was buzzing. He used his fingers to hold the temple that was about to explode. He curled up on the sofa and said painfully, "Okay, Carl, stop talking about it, fuck, my head is about to explode. No, I'm going to take a painkiller, and then I'll sleep for a while. I won't send you off." Carl watched Andy Smith knead his temple, stagger up the stairs, raise his hand, move his lips and try to persuade again. He didn't know what to think of. He put down his hand and sighed a little bit, "Then you have a good rest, remember to call me." Andy Smith was lying on a big, sprawling bed, his eyes closed, his face in pain. It was incredible to think back to the past 12 hours. Cough. Song Dawei climbed up from the cold swimming pool, vomited, clapped his chest and spat at the water. It took him a while to recover. Weakness of limbs, splitting headache. Damn, where am I? Didn't I get blown up by my cell phone when I was calling with a 4-star charging? Holding his swollen head and wiping off the water stains on his face, he slowly stood up, walked into the room with the weak light of the villa, and found the washroom. As soon as he turned on the light, Song Dawei was stupid. There was a strange face on the mirror in the washroom. He had black hair, blue eyes like lake water, soft facial features, and a morbid pale face. He was 180.190 centimeters tall, but he was thin and weak. He felt very incoherent. It's just extraordinarily young, with a green tinge. Looking at the mirror in such a daze, Song Dawei, who was in his 30s, turned around and walked out of the bathroom, stepped on the soft carpet with his water-stained feet, and lay down on the white sofa in the living room. At the same time, he murmured, "Wipe, I'm walking through it with my body." As a senior online bookworm, he soon realized what had happened, and a burst of unspeakable emotions surged into his heart, excited, frightened or excited. Song Dawei's head suddenly suffered a sharp pain, as if he had stirred the burning iron in his head, which made his brain boil. He fell on the ground with his head in his arms and cried loudly. He didn't know how long it took. Blood flowed from his nose and fainted. In a trance, Song Dawei watched a gray cloud with a small current merging with a white cloud, in which the current was breaking down the white cloud. Just now what's the matter? Song Dawei sat up inexplicably. When he woke up, he found that his head was clear, and his nose was sticky. He felt nosebleed with his hand. He quickly stood up and walked into the bathroom to look at the mirror. The nosebleed flowed to the corner of his mouth. After thinking for a few seconds, he closed his eyes and recalled it. Then he went to the bathroom. After swallowing his saliva, he suddenly opened his mouth. His forehead was sweating and he felt dizzy again. The owner of the body was Andy Smith, 21 years old. He was a young and famous writer. His mother was Tiffany jewelry designer, his father was a lawyer, and he was a partner of a New York law firm. What delighted him most was that the current time was April 2006. Watching the chaos, Andy turns on all the lights in the lousy and dim living room. The villa is decorated simply and brightly, with white as the main color. The European furniture is full of modern sense. A very huge family photo is hung on the wall behind the sofa. The information found from the memory is that his grandfather is Chinese, his mother is mixed. He has a quarter of Chinese descent, and his family is very large affluent. Andy has been very smart since he was a child. He is proficient in piano and guitar and reads various books. At the age of 16, he wrote his first novel, Vampire Academy, which made him famous. Then he wrote a novel called Paper Town, which made him a very famous young writer in America. Andy took off his clothes, soaked himself in a big white and fashionable bathtub, watched the steaming steam with the 3 mirror walls around him, and closed his eyes slightly to continue to remember. Until the Paper Town was bought by a Hollywood film company, he was fooled by his own lewd agent to move from New York to Los Angeles, and he also applied for the South University entrance examination. Los Angeles, Hollywood. In this world of hedonists, time plays tricks on you. One day, you dream. Then your dream comes true. It's a good time. If someone tells you that you have made a mistake, hurt your heart, and learned a ruthless lesson, it will open here in the warm California sunshine. When you indulge in meaningless women's fragrance, it starts to rot. He lost his inspiration in the first year and a half when he came to Hollywood. Now he is suffering from the so-called life crisis. In short, he can't write anything, which is very bad, because he is a writer and a professional writer. Now I can't even write a damn sentence. Women, marijuana, alcohol, drug abuse, the mess of his original healthy body, deep eye socket, pale and sick complexion, thin body, in his 188 centimeters height against the background, become very strange. Finally, under the influence of marijuana and alcohol, he fell into the swimming pool outside the house and was drowned. That's why Song Dawe, who is wearing Seoul clothes, is cheap. In his pajamas, Song Dawe wanders around the villa in a trance, looking at all the familiar and unfamiliar decorations and photos, the spacious study filled with books on the whole wall, the luxurious movie screening room, the fitness room with marble billiard table and various fitness equipment. It's really like a dream. Andy watched the sun come in and grab his hair. He spent the night sorting out his memory and checking the villa. He didn't sleep all night, and it was memory reorganization and the stimulation of marijuana and alcohol, which not only didn't make him depressed, but also made him extremely excited. Although Andy didn't understand why, he didn't pay attention to it. He thought it was just because he knew the excitement of appendage crossing. As I said before, this guy named Andy Smith became famous when he was young. He had about 5 million royalties for selling books and movie adaptations. His parents spent more than $2 million on his villa. He bought a red Ferrari F430 worth $500,000 from his grandfather and a Porsche Carrera worth $480,000 from his grandfather. Although in the rich area of Los Angeles, millionaires get more money, which is not enough to see. What's more, Andy spent a year and a half of his life without inspiration and writing. His mental anguish made him miserable, reckless and drunk. Up to now, he doesn't know how much money he has left. His memory is clear. It seems that there are more than 2 million left. Fortunately, every year, publishers will put a new copyright fee into his account. It seems that both of his works have been included in the American Education Department's catalog of recommended books for young people to read. The sales volume will increase again. This is a fixed income. Maybe it's the only good news Andy Smith used to be happy with. In any case, I inherited all his identity and life. I'm Andy Smith. Andy shrugs and stretches in front of the window. Although his head still hurts, he starts to think. So, what should I do now? Andy, who is still thinking, squints his eyes to block the glare of the sun. He can't help licking some dry lips. A thrill that never happened covers his whole body. It seems that a current makes him tremble. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.